On the Flanders Drakestown Road Bridge construction. I think we have some members from the county here this evening. If you'd like to come up and go to the podium and introduce yourselves. We have a lot of displays here. Tonight they're going to let us know the beginning of the project, what it entails.
Good evening. I'm Rosalind Courdan with Morris County Engineering Department. And we have Kellyanne Kimachek from Keller & Kirkpatrick. She's our design consultant. I'll hand the presentation over to her.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, thank you so much for having us today. I'm here to represent the bridge. It's Flanders Drakestown Bridge. It's the bridge right at the intersection of River Road and Flanders Drakestown Road. I know you guys can't see the board, so I'm going to come up over here.
Do we have the microphone? Hold on one second. We have to get you on the microphone here so that we can get it on the recording. Sorry.
The existing bridge, I'm going to try and hold these up a little bit. The existing bridge is a two-span stone masonry spandrel arch culvert bridge, and it was constructed, I thought it was about 1900s, but I was informed that it was about 1868.
Doesn't look like that anymore.
It doesn't look like that anymore. We have pictures of what it does look like now. The bridge is in poor condition structurally based on the National Bridge Inspection Standards. It's in poor condition. It's experienced a lot of degradation over the years, and it is, as most of you know, and I think all the police officers would probably agree with me, it's very narrow. It's also very dangerous due to the fact that there are so many DPW trucks very close to it, the bus depot for the schools. There's great concern, and again, based on National Bridge Inspection Standards, it's what we call functionally obsolete. Due to the condition of the bridge and due to the safety aspects of the bridge, the county has contracted us to design the replacement of the bridge. We are planning to construct the new bridge, if all goes well. We are looking at starting construction towards the end of June next year, waiting until school gets out, and completing construction prior to school starting in September. The new bridge, we are working with a precaster, and we are hoping to use precast elements to speed the construction of the bridge, minimize the downtime, minimize construction costs, and also to minimize the detour, the length of the detour. The new bridge is going to be almost, I'm not going to say look the same, hopefully it's going to look a little nicer. Unfortunately, it is a historic site. It's eligible for state historic preservation. However, due to its condition, we have been in coordination with the State Historic Preservation Office, and they do agree that the bridge needs to be replaced, and they are working with us to come up with some mitigation measures. Some of the mitigation measures that we're proposing are there's existing capstones, bluestone capstones on the bridge. Some of them are now missing. They're in the river, but we are going to salvage them and mimic the existing. We're going to reuse the ones that are available to be used, and we're going to mimic the existing with new blue capstones. The existing ring stones that are on the bridge, the gunite's going to be taken off of them, salvaged, and reused on the face of the precast structure. We are also going to be putting in a powder-coated, brown powder-coated railing system that will kind of keep a historic nature, if you will. And we're also going to be putting up a sign stating that the bridge has got historic character to it. That's what we're proposing with the new bridge. The existing openings of the bridge will be exactly the same. I'm sorry, the proposed openings of the bridge will be exactly the same as the existing. I'm afraid I'm going to trip over this. We will be submitting, coming up real soon, to the DEP for permits. The permits we're looking at with the DEP are freshwater wetlands permits, flood hazard area permit. We will be looking also at getting a approval from HPO, State Historic Preservation Office, We figured that was going to take the longest amount of time, so that's why we consulted with them up front. I'm sorry, my back's to you.
That's okay.
And we will also be submitting to Morris County Soil Erosion Sediment Control. And we will be getting a Highlands preservation determination. We expect that we will be exempt because we're putting back almost exactly what was there. And we're not doing any type of building or lot improvements. The detour proposed for this project is going to go along River Road out to 46 up across Wolf Road, and access will be maintained to the depot and to the school at all times. Stephens Mill Road will have barricades at either end, a single barricade stating that it will be open to local traffic only. No through traffic will be permitted to go that route.
Why
Sure.
is that? Why are you blocking that off?
You don't want traffic to go through a local neighborhood.
Yeah, we don't
That's
want anyone.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, and we also are going to be providing, I was working with the police department, and I was informed that there was concern about all of the traffic going up to Wolf Road and meeting at Flanders Drakestown and Flanders Road at that intersection there. So we are going to be providing a car-only alternate access to 206 by use of River Road, but trucks will not be permitted.
How long do you expect the project to be in force?
We expect the detour to be in place pretty much right after school lets out, the end of June, and we anticipate it will be fully open again before September when school starts.
Is it the county's decision right now to leave the bridge in the current condition that it's in until the project is undertaken?
I'm going to ask the county to respond to that.
That's the county's plan for now.
Is the bridge safe as
Yeah.
currently barricaded?
Yes, it is, and we will have our maintenance on a weekly basis, make checks on the bridge and maintain the structure, but it is safe currently.
Kathy, what concerns do you have about the bridge project as it's been explained?
Kathy Murphy from the Historical Society. The Historical Society was notified HPO about the original damage that occurred a couple of years ago when it was first hit. And that's why HPO has been involved in this process all along. Our hope was that perhaps a second span could have been put next to this bridge. There are no weight limits on the bridge. We understand it's narrow. We felt that, unfortunately, this bridge was identified back in 1986 in the county survey as being eligible for the National Historic Register. Unfortunately, county put gunite on the bridge, which pretty much sealed its fate. And by not taking proper care of the bridge and restoring it at that time, it has now reached a point where our last historic bridge in the town will be demolished. That's our problem. Unfortunately, it's also reached a point where we can't do a whole lot about it. We certainly would wish that this had been properly taken care of and that there were some other alternatives. We understand HPO has been working with Keller and Kirkpatrick. Certainly the things that they're proposing as far as reusing the capstones, doing some of that, using some of the original stone is certainly a better alternative than just seeing a modern bridge there. So we'll continue to work with HPO.
Okay, so you're of the opinion then that the project is necessary at this point based upon the condition of the bridge? Look, there's nothing.
I don't know about necessary, but-
Well, it sounds to me like the project is necessary, and it sounds to me like whatever happened in the past, and we are now at a point where the bridge needs significant work, and the county is willing to do the work, obviously, because the county is responsible for the bridge maintenance, and that the county has worked with the Historical Society to save as much of the historical aspects of what is currently there and incorporate that into the design going forward. Is that accurate? Kathy?
Close.
I recognize the fact that the Historical Society would have been happier had the bridge been salvaged and maintained in a fashion that was consistent with the original design and the original construction of the bridge, but we're not at that point now.
Optimally, we would like to see the bridge restored and the second span next to it. I understand.
It's not gonna happen. My question, my greatest concern, sorry, Colleen.
No.
Is emergency access during the construction phase. Obviously, the municipal building is located adjacent to the structure. The structure is used for ambulance response, and I assume that all of that will remain during the construction phase, that emergency vehicles will be allowed to pass over the bridge during the construction.
To be honest with you, Mayor, that was not the intent, that the bridge would be fully closed during construction. The alignment of the new bridge is exactly in the place where the old bridge was, and there is no real way to kind of stage the construction of this bridge due to the current condition of the masonry arch, that once we start taking that out, it's going to go.
Chief? Sorry. Without being able to access River Road from the municipal building, what steps are you going to take in terms of emergency access to portions of the town? Has that already been thought
Yeah,
about?
it has been, but, you know, not to the depth that we need to. We have a year to do so. It's going to be an issue. I support what they've chosen to do, in that it's going to be short in duration. By doing it one side at a time, I think we'd be in it would be a situation where the buses would be out of service for a long time. We are going to be using, unfortunately, we're going to be using Stevens Mill Road.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Stevens
say.
Mill Road, or going out to 46. And as it stands right now, we always have somebody, well, we try to always have somebody in the Flanders area, and it's just where we put our people. It's where we station our people throughout the day, so.
I imagine that actually using Stevens Mill Road is not that much more time consuming than going down Flanders Drakes down to River Road.
It's not that much more time consuming, but it is a completely different character. You know, the nature of that road is different, and we're gonna have to be careful going through that.
Yeah.
I was just going to say the same thing, that Stevens Mill Road is, it's going to be used for emergency vehicles or some of the throughway. It does need to be patched up. It's not in very good condition. So,
I've already alerted Sean this evening to make sure that there is significant attention paid to Stevens Mill Road prior to the bridge
yeah.
work being done. Did you get that?
Very good. Any other questions? Concern? Mr. Roman?
Earlier, you had said that you were hoping to use precast. Why the choice of the words hoping? What factors could change that?
Honestly, that was a misspeak. We are definitely planning to use precast. The other consideration when I say hoping, is potentially using precast foundations due to the depth of where good soil is, good bearing soil is. It's a little bit deep for the option of precast. We may be able to work with a contractor to see if that's an option that they would consider.
Thank you.
It's typically much more costly to do a deep foundation that is precast. It would just speed up construction a little bit more.
Any other questions? I have one question. How much wider is it going to be?
The overall width, based on the current bridge right now at its widest point is 25 feet. The new bridge would be widened to 30 feet. So it'd only be 2.5 feet on either side. It would provide two 12-foot lanes and two 3-foot shoulders.
Any other questions? Mr. Roman?
Well, is there going to be any accommodation to be made for any people that decide to run the length of it, or bike, just
We
like a
have
separate little side path?
We have not made any provisions for pedestrians or bicycle traffic through the area.
You know, because I do periodically see bicyclists and, you know, runners going through there. So if it's anything that could be contemplated at this time, if it's possible.
Okay. Rosalind, do you want to speak on that?
I think,
What
Mayor?
we'll do is we'll put up signs on River Road and on Flanders Drakestown Road and direct that traffic to Stevens Mill Road. It's
Oh,
probably
I'm
the
sorry. I
best.
thought you meant for permanent
No, I was
construction.
talking about permanent
Yeah, he was
construction.
talking about permanent.
construction.
You know, as just like on some of the, just like on on Manor House Road, that little bridge there has a little side area.
The two issues right off the bat that I can speak about are right-of-way issues. If we go any further with the bridge, we're going to be outside the right-of-way. We are obtaining temporary easements and permanent construction easements at this time, but we are not planning any right-of-way takings. And if we go, matter of fact, that was one of the reasons we went with a 30-foot wide bridge, was because of the right-of-way issue. The second issue that we would encounter by making the bridge any wider is further environmental impacts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other
Any other
points you want to
questions, comments?
Anybody from the public have any questions that they'd like to ask? Okay, seeing none. And anything else you'd like to? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Do you need some assistance in gathering up all your?
If I could just move it out of your way.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ferranti, would you help them move that for us, please? Thank you. Oh, I think they got it. They're experienced. We're used to this. Okay, next on our agenda, we have our personal watercraft on Bud Lake. Joe Pointek. Did I say your last name right?
Yeah, pretty close.
Oh.
Joe Pointek. I'm president of the Lake Association, otherwise called the association dedicated to the preservation and protection of beautiful Bud Lake. We're concerned for the safety on the lake. Occasionally we have personal watercraft that are operated on the lake. Undisputedly, these craft are probably the most dangerous watercraft in existence and have specific rules by various states and agencies. The township has an ordinance called jet skis. Jet skis were historically the name for these craft. They have developed over the years with technology, become faster and more horsepower, and have carried more people. So our definition that we have in our ordinance really should be changed, either updated to the technology, which keeps changing, or be more in line with the New Jersey boating regulations. I noticed that the legal have come up with the definition, Dorsey and Samara. It says either jet ski, water bike, water scooter, wave runner, ski-doo, or any other boat less than 16 feet in length powered by impellers and jet pumps. I'd like to see that into the ordinance, replacing the jet ski, updated to personal watercraft. The problem we see is there is at least 4 signs on the lake which say no jet skis on weekends and holidays. I think these signs should be taken down, that they cause a little more confusion on the people, because when we approach somebody that's operating a jet ski in a, quote, reckless manner, they say, I have a personal watercraft, not a jet ski, so I'm not regulated. So these signs really are misleading. Sometimes we notice there's people that are a little far into the area that we don't notice them, they're from out-of-towners, and they launch at the boathouse. We used to have a sign at the boathouse which said for residents only, and I guess that's missing or taken down, and I'd like to see that replaced. If that could be done, I think this would be a step towards improving the safety on the lake. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Yeah, I'm not really in favor of this, Joe. First of all, let me say that I appreciate the fact that you have stepped up to the plate in terms of taking on this responsibility on behalf of the committee. But my position is that I want to see more use of the lake, and one of the things that I ran on when I ran for mayor was to make Bud Lake more than just something that you pass by on Route 46 on your way to someplace else. One of the things that we're doing currently is the redevelopment zone on Route 46 that runs along the portion that fronts Bud Lake. And I'm not sure, as I sit here from having anecdotal information from a number of different people, that it is necessarily the people on personal watercrafts that are the problem. It is just boaters, people on the water who are irresponsible, whether they are in boats or on jet skis or on personal watercraft. And I do believe that there is a problem in terms of lake safety, but I don't think it's necessarily related to the type of equipment that they're ultimately using. I want to encourage more use of the lake. I want to encourage safe use of the lake. And I'm not in favor of ultimately changing the definition. In fact, I would get rid of the fact that we can't use these jet skis on the lake, and I would look for different ways of enforcing safety issues rather than trying to exclude different types of equipment.
Mr. Roman?
Sean, are we aware of any complaints to the township and/or the police department resulting from weekend use from
No,
personal
no.
watercraft?
None to administration. I would defer to the chief if the police department receives regularly calls on the weekends, but nothing to the mayor's office.
I have to tell you anecdotally, the use of the lake is minimal, even on the weekends. And that's part of the problem, that we need to start encouraging use of the lake to spur business on different establishments that run adjacent to the lake itself. It'll make it a much more attractive town. It'll increase our property values in terms of our commercial establishments that run on Route 46. And I don't know of any real problems on the lake other than perhaps an individual, irrespective of the type of equipment that they're using, not using it in a fashion that is appropriate. And so I think there's probably as much problem with people on boats as there is on any type of watercraft, personal watercraft or jet ski.
Mr. Roman? You had-
Mr. Pointek, could you tell me what was the impetus of bringing this up? Was it a rash of complaints?
Not a rash of complaints, just a couple comments.
Okay.
New Jersey boating regulations has also a specific section on Bud Lake. So even though the town ordinance, I guess that would supersede the town ordinance, it basically mirrors our regulation. And it basically says, no person shall operate a personal watercraft on Bud Lake on Saturdays, Sundays, legal holidays between May 15th and September 15th. That would have to be also revised and changed.
I mean, I for one, echo the mayor's sentiments. I don't want to discourage more use of the lake, and also, as far as lake use or access to the boathouse ramp for residents only, I would be opposed to, enforcing that, you know.
When it was opened up, that's the original was put on there. It was basically a indication and sign. I guess that was for traffic and lower use areas, because it's a difficult area to go in and out.
I think part of the problem is the parking in that area.
That too.
I
Actually,
think the lack of parking is more of a discouragement for anybody that's not, from
that's,
town.
yeah, I was going to say the same thing. If we want to encourage more use of the lake in the warmer months of the year, there's, people, Alex and Ray, we're on down that area all the time. Somebody's trying to get their boat in there, they're trying to get across Sand Shore Road. It's like a disaster waiting to happen at times. And then there's no place for anybody to park, so they park on Mr. Hashemi's parking lot there, which is not really town property. He could put an end to that at any time. So we don't really have really easy public access to bring in any watercraft as it is.
Two separate issues right now.
Mhm.
One is whether or not we want to move forward, the council wants to move forward with the suggestion of changing the definition of personal watercraft from jet ski to personal watercraft. The second is, in a long-term project, how do we go about creating an atmosphere and a facility which is sufficient for encouraging use of the lake? And my suggestion is that they're both interconnected, because you don't want to start eliminating
Right.
certain types of crafts if we're going to ultimately go down the road to start fixing the other problems
Mhm.
of creating an atmosphere which encourages use of the lake. And I can tell you that it is my opinion and my plan to fix the second problem. I haven't started to tackle it yet, but
Right.
how do we go about creating that atmosphere where we can increase the use of the lake?
Yep, absolutely. I have a question actually for Chief Spitzer, since he's so nicely attended our meeting this evening. It comes to enforcement for any violations on the lake. Do we handle that, or do you call out the state?
You call out the state, but by the time they respond, there's not very much enforcement. In the past, we have called them and asked them to come out and patrol on sporadically, and they've done that, but they're suffering just like everybody else is
Right.
with cuts right now, and we very infrequently get their attention.
You would have to agree, though, it's limited in terms of issues that we have out on the lake. It's episodic.
See, I'm gonna do this.
Yes.
But yes, we've had very little issues out there.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. What's the council's pleasure? We want to leave it as it is, and because we have...
Frankly, I'd be in favor of taking down that sign entirely, because I think if we have a sign out there that one only says jet skis, it might cause even more friction and more altercations from a boater that sees somebody in a wave runner and thinks that wave runner shouldn't be there because the sign says jet ski, and the wave runner says, no, I don't qualify, so I think it creates more problems. I, for one, would be in favor of taking down the sign entirely
The ordinance does...
and eliminating the ordinance.
Yeah, if we have to have if we have it in the ordinance, I think we have to notify it on the lake. So we can't take down the signs without modifying the ordinance. Is that
That
correct?
would be a question for legal.
Yep, she's not, Nanette
Yes.
is nodding her head, yes.
Yes.
So is that, the rest of the council, do we want to adjust the ordinance at this time? Mr. Perkins?
Thank you, Madam President. I have to agree with the mayor. We need to stop restricting people from enjoying some of the natural resources that are available here in Mount Olive. And those jet skis, geez, I've been here 26 years, and I don't know that anybody's ever paid attention to not, launching
agree.
watercraft or anything else off of any portions of the lake. Due diligence needs to be taken. Joe, I appreciate, you bringing this to the council's attention, but I, for one, want to see more people on the lake, and I don't know what other kind of watercraft. It could be one of those backpack jet things that somebody's out there with, and every time something new comes out, are we just going to keep going back and back to restrict it, and then what do we restrict it to? Do we just make it for, small aluminum boats with a 5-horsepower trolling motor or something on it for fishermen, and that's all that's allowed? I think we're getting too carried away with regulation.
So my question would be to our attorney, if we could check out what the state regulation is to see where it references Bud Lake, and if we have to follow, was that something we sent to them and that's what they codified, or were we going after what? Mrs. Lashway said, yes, we requested it originally, so we'll have to see. And then I would recommend we remove it from the ordinance and promote use of the lake within reason and see how it goes from there.
So we need relief from the state first.
First, we'll have Nanette's going to check, Nanette is going to check into that and see on the state code, because of course we can make our ordinance stronger than the state, but we can't be less than the state. So we need to make sure that got all our ducks in a row in that direction, and then we can move forward after that.
Sounds like a plan.
Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds good. All right, next on our agenda, we have presentation by Dr. and Mr. Novaki for Become Awesome Foundation. Mr. Novaki, you're...
I've been requested to remain in my seat.
Probably a good decision.
Good decision,
He
yeah.
knows where I am.
I have my trusty attorney.
And this is Novaki? Oh, D'Amico, that's right. Karen D'Amico.
The entire board of,
Name and address.
Yes, we need your, Denise.
what?
It's really funny, my voice sounds like it's coming from the back of the room, so when you hear me...
Yeah, it does.
I know. We need your name and address for the record, please,
Like
as
that
well as
now?
Karen. I know.
I'm Dr. Denise Novaki. And my address, you said?
Yes, your address.
432nd Street in Bud Lake.
And then when Karen speaks, we'll need hers also.
Okay. I am the chairperson of the Become Awesome Foundation, and except for one member, our entire board of trustees is here, and I appreciate that very much. Become Awesome is a 501c3 nonprofit organization designed to teach social consciousness, tolerance, and coping skills among adolescents and young adults in our region, and hopefully will expand, and it'll be the state at some point. At this time, Become Awesome has various fundraising events that are designed as per the mission statement. We have a blog, and just about every day through social media, I interact with the young adults and the adolescents of our region. The Become Awesome Foundation would like to open a memory and reflection garden, and one idea is that this occur at Lou Nelson Park on Warren Drive in Bud Lake. The concept of having a public park open to quiet reflection and meditation is gaining support throughout the nation, and there are several attempts to try this. However, funding and organization has been lacking, so they're just in the planning stages. But Become Awesome would really like to spearhead this kind of an idea. We would also like to go beyond that and have a place where individuals can memorialize and celebrate the lives of young people who have departed early. Particularly, it would be open to those individuals who've departed who are 25 years of age or younger at the time of their death. There would be a large general garden, and there would be smaller individual gardens open to people who want to memorialize their loved ones. We think that the township would benefit from a place where young people can come, convene, and work through the issues regarding grief that they're currently facing, particularly in our town over the past months have been really difficult for us as a town. We plan that depending upon fundraising, that the project, as I've outlined it in your packets, will take 3 to 5 years to develop, although I would start groundbreaking almost immediately with the beginnings of a garden. At the end of the project, we would look to having a fully sustainable garden, rain barrels, stone benches, and various other people involved that want to celebrate their loved ones. From the township, we would ask for the piece of land, a 12 by 12 foot spot. One idea is Lou Nelson Park. We would ask the township to maintain liability insurance. We would ask the township to keep the maintenance that they currently have going, and Become Awesome would do the rest, okay? Unfortunately, of course, I thought I had this idea totally nailed down, and that's not the case. Upon coming here, Mayor Greenbaum and I have talked about some other options, of course, because nothing's easy. So I'm going to meet with the Board of Trustees today, and we'll figure out what we're going to do, and we'll come back with at least a proposal.
Mayor?
Yes, thank you. I wholeheartedly support the concept that Denise is putting forward. The issue that I have identified in speaking with Sean is that it is difficult to really police Nelson Park. It's isolated. It's really a park that we have, for all intents and purposes, over the years as Turkey Brook developed, we have abandoned except for a basketball use, which has in itself incurred significant vandalism.
In the playground.
the playground has been basically abandoned or will be, it will be.
Oh, yeah,
it
but
will
there's
be
a- yeah.
abandoned at some point in time. As you know, we are in the process of now developing the center island at Turkey Brook with the tot lot. And I presented to Denise the option of perhaps doing this at Turkey Brook in the center area in connection with the tot lot. And so it's an issue which has to be further developed by the foundation. And wherever the foundation wants to do this project, from the administration's perspective, we support it wholeheartedly. And so I'm not really sure where this concept is going to go at this point. I think a lot of it has to do with the foundation taking a look at the concept. As Denise presented this evening, there are a lot of aspects of Lou Nelson Park which really fit into this in terms of meditation, quiet area, but not something that we can ultimately maintain appropriately with the size of our Buildings and Grounds Department. Not something that we can police on a regular basis, although we do have vandalism at Turkey Brook Park as well. It's certainly more on the radar in terms of where the police can be and can't be. So I think at this point, what we're looking for from the council, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, Denise, is just an overall agreement that the concept is definitely something that the town wants to move forward with, and then we'll come back and say, okay, we've looked at the two options, and we think that this is the better option.
I understand, I just have one other comment.
Yeah.
Regardless of where we end up on this, and certainly the use of the new development of Turkey Brook is attractive, particularly because of the graffiti problem, right? And so that's fine. At this point today, right, I have 147 adolescents waiting to hear, where are we going to come together and mourn our friends? So, certainly, for the interim, we can do something, well, I think certainly, we can do something small and temporary at Lou Nelson and not have any dedication and not make it any big deal, but it be a place where I can bring some kids together and do some square foot gardening, because they need to do something.
I have no problem with that. And ultimately, Lou Nelson may be after, as I said, having heard your presentation, Lou Nelson, different than what we discussed earlier
Right.
today. Lou Nelson may be the right place for this project in eternity.
Right. My other concern, with all due respect to the development of something new at Turkey Brook, which I really support and want to help with to the extent that I'm able, but the other thing is, the abandoning of Lou Nelson Park, I don't want to give the young people of our town the impression that we're going to leave this and go to bigger and better and newer. I don't like that, right? I want them to feel that something is theirs. So we'll talk, and I'll make another proposal, and we'll figure it out. And in the meantime, I'll give the kids something to do for now.
Mr. Roman?
I applaud you for your taking this project on, and I agree with the sentiments of it. Definitely one aspect of it is the memorialization of, youth that we've lost. From my perspective, I think that's something that should be in Turkey Brook, where you'll have more traffic, so more people that maybe from other parts of town or even coming into town can get impacted by, some of the poor decisions that someone might make that can impact, not only their lives but the lives of their friends. So, I understand the wanting to meditate, and again, without seeing a complete proposal, I, for one, would like to see it in a more visible spot, but that'll be discussed at a later date.
Mr. Perkins?
Thank you, Madam President. Denise, again, my condolences on your loss. I know that was tough for all of us here. Personally, if the children, the young adults, feel that at this time, and the foundation is in agreement, that Lou Nelson Park is the place that they would like to start this, you have my support for that.
Thank you.
Like my cohort, Mr. Roman here, I think there is a direct benefit to having a final place in Turkey Brook, not unlike the 9/11 memorial that I'm myself painstakingly trying to get erected up there at some particular point. Only because it is an area of the township where a lot of people come to visit. Quietness, as you know, I'm a Vietnam veteran and the All Veterans Memorial, and it's nice. It is quiet enough, I guess, for my reflection. When I go up there and visit, it's not unlike every time I drove past a tree. You have that moment, and you always will have that moment. So wherever it is, their spirit's always going to be in our hearts. But if you think that is the best place for you to start right now, then you have my support for that, and then try to work with the administration and see if you can move to Turkey Brook, if that ultimately becomes your final place.
What do you think? Is that okay?
I think there are competing interests here in terms of the quietness that Lou Nelson Park offers, but I think the council members have raised a very interesting perspective of educating the youth in terms of what loss to the community of someone of their age really means. And you're going to get a broad spectrum at Turkey Brook of drug use, losing
Right.
somebody,
Right.
automobile use, losing somebody. So I think that your foundation needs to think about that in terms of, and I think it would be the first of its kind.
It's going to be the first of its kind.
And I think educationally, how certain schools put the car that's been smashed up in front of the school, but that doesn't really tell the story of the individual loss.
Right.
So I think that's something that you need to think about as well in terms of where you want to put it. But having said that, it's going to take a while to make it happen at Turkey Brook. And so I think that there's no real opposition tonight to having something temporary or perhaps the beginning of a permanent thing at Lou Nelson. Having spoken to Sean, he thinks that we probably need a resolution just adopting approval of this evening. How quickly are you looking to move forward with this?
Pretty quick.
We either have to do a verbal resolution tonight or wait to our next council meeting, which would be in 2 weeks. So I'd rather wait the 2 weeks personally. So we'll have a resolution prepared allowing you, unless there's opposition from council.
I was going to say, in the meantime, I've been to Lou Nelson Park a few times the past couple weeks, especially after I saw your Facebook post. I do think it's the perfect spot for quiet reflection, but I also agree with the council members and the mayor that it'd be nice to have something at Turkey Brook Park. And I'm thinking that maybe if you begin at Lou Nelson Park, the Renee Gedalia and her family used to have that as their adopt-a spot, and they would take care of it, and no one's really been there taking care of it. So if you and the young adults and students went over there and started working, I think that's a great idea. And maybe ultimately it'll end up being a nice little garden area for very
I
nice
do
reflection.
have one question about Lou Nelson. You guys remember when the handball court used to be there, right? But that was graffitied, so it was taken down. That's nice. That was a good move. Is there concrete there, or is it just ground?
There's a parking lot there.
No, I know.
Oh.
I know. At the handball court.
I don't know. if
You know
there
the
is
green
a-
thing that used to
Yeah,
be there, right?
mhm.
What was the flooring?
I imagine it would have to have been some kind of asphalt or concrete.
Yeah,
Where's
well,
Ed? You should know.
it's
Oh,
asphalt.
so I'm going to be trying to, okay.
Okay. So,
Might be a turkey program. Okay, all right.
so basically, we'll have a in the interim, you and your crew are going to go over and check out the park and kind of get it ready. And 2 weeks from now, we'll have a resolution.
Resolution allowing the use of and covering the volunteers for the
Right.
activities that are going to occur related to the Foundation at Lou Nelson Park.
And right now, there wouldn't be any kind of liability issue because it's an open park, and if they want to go and,
I would hasten to have any work done, I would not want any work done until the resolution is passed, allowing the activities to occur and to allow, and to provide for insurance coverage under our policy. So I would
Right.
ask that you wait the 2 weeks. We'll have a resolution prepared, and then you can speak to Sean about what you're proposing
Ideas.
to do in your time frame, and just move forward in conjunction with Sean's approval in terms of what you're gonna do.
Am
And they-
I needed at that meeting in 2 weeks, or could you just?
no, you don't, no, you
I
don't need
think
to be.
So I'll make sure that Lisa Lashway provides you with a copy of the resolution a day or two in advance of the meeting. It's really a procedural
Okay.
aspect.
Ed, in the handball court at Lou Nelson Park, is there asphalt there?
Wow, Denise, you're asking a lot there. I can't actually.
Gotta be
say.
Oh,
on the
you have to be
record.
on the microphone, Mr. D'Amico, right here. Right, this microphone right here.
Name
Just
and address.
state
I
your
believe
name.
there is, but I haven't
Name
been
and
to
address.
You
Lou
have to do,
Nelson.
yep, name and address.
Ed D'Amico, 16 Ledgewood Trail. I don't live here any longer,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There used to be asphalt there. I don't think there's asphalt there anymore, but I don't know.
I would imagine that
Yeah.
there's still asphalt there, if there was asphalt there.
I mean, there
originally,
was
because
a while
I don't
back.
think it was taken up.
Yeah.
All right,
You knew
but
everything.
yes. No, not that. I did play basketball there, and
Yeah.
it was a great place to play basketball, but I hope that it gets back to its old way.
The
that's for sure.
basketball, it is my plan to have the basketball fixed up. The problem with Lou Nelson Park is that there is a tremendous amount of vandalism there because
Absolutely.
of its isolation.
Yes.
And so and the fact that we have really centralized our park efforts at Turkey Brook and to a lesser degree at Flanders Park. So, and we're going to be building a major tot lot slash kiddie, slide, whatever you want to call it.
At Lou
What's that?
Nelson?
No,
Playground.
at
No,
Turkey Brook.
At Turkey Brook. Lou Nelson Park has, because of the fact that we have lessened the use there, because of the vandalism, because of its isolated nature, it's not being maintained, it's not being policed in the same fashion
Right.
as our other facilities where we have more assets currently.
I understand.
So, the bottom line is that we would love to see somebody like the foundation come in and put it to good use for the,
Yeah.
for the use. I'm not sure that it ultimately will serve all of the purposes that the foundation can really hit, which is what's been identified here tonight, which is, let's educate, not only remember.
Yeah, no, I
And we can
understand.
do it in a tasteful way where, I mean, I would love to see testimonials of kids that said, I lost Joe. Joe was my best friend.
Yes.
And I heard about kids who lost
do
other
that.
friends.
And-
Kids would like to do that.
And I know, and if it's done in a tasteful way, because obviously you want to have it where people are coming and say, wow, this is powerful,
Mayor?
you know?
Mayor?
So Turkey Brook really does, it might also work at Lou Nelson Park, but you're not going to drive the same amount of people there.
Right, well, Turkey Brook is very nice.
Well, let's talk about the options, but in the meantime, Turkey Brook is a ways off.
Yeah.
In the meantime, let's talk about Lou Nelson Park, let's talk about getting the group going and getting a project going, and maybe you can do both.
And Mayor?
In a way. That you have a garden at one and you have some kind of project at the other that educates. And I don't think there's anything greater you can do for what we've lost and what you've personally lost than to stop someone else from losing.
Right.
Mayor,
So-
we also have the Mount Olive TV, and they keep looking for program
I-
things.
I don't disagree, but ultimately, if it's in a place where people are already going, it will have a
Right.
greater impact than trying to drive people to some place that they're not going to.
Agreed.
That's the bottom line.
Thank you all very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
and
you.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care, thank you. Good night. Okay, next on our agenda, we have our resolutions. Anybody from council want to discuss Mr. Roman?
First resolution, we're replacing the Ford Escape for the health department. What vehicle, what's the year, mileage, and the condition of the vehicle that we're replacing?
These were already approved from budget from last winter. What we ended up substituting was for roughly the same price was Ford F-150s instead of the Ford Escapes. We'd This is going to the health department vehicles. We have a lot of those old blue trucks. I don't have the details in front of me, but a lot of those old blue trucks, high mileage.
S-Dens.
The S-10s, yeah. But what we approved through budget, Councilman, was the Ford Escapes. What we ended up purchasing was Ford F-150s. They're a little more versatile, they're the same price, and it's a little bit more durable vehicle. So that's what we're amending in the capital budget.
So the health department's gonna be using the F-150s?
Yeah, F-150s. These are for our environmental inspectors, the ones going out down to Wharton, Mount Arlington, Mount Olive, all your restaurant inspections. It's a little more versatile truck, and we felt it was as good or a better purchase than the Ford Escapes.
All right, thank you.
Obviously can also be used for other purposes
Right.
within the municipal government if necessary.
Any other questions on our resolutions this evening? Okay, ordinances. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none. Old business. Seeing no old business, new business. Seeing no new business, I want to adjourn now to the public meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn to the oh, I'm sorry. I'm opening up the public portion for the conference meeting, and after this, we will be going into our public meeting. Anybody from the public like to address the council at this time? Okay, seeing none, could I have a motion to adjourn to the public meeting, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are now on our public meeting. Just to clarify for everyone, the beginning, the first section of the meeting this evening is our conference meeting where we discuss the issues, and now we go into our public meeting where we actually do our voting and further discussion and presentations. So we've already had our Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to ask Mrs. Lashway to please read the Open Public Meeting Act announcement.
According to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Frente?
Here.
Mr. Nacastro? Mr. Perkins?
Here.
Mr. Roman?
Here.
Mr. Stazak? Mr. Mania? Mrs. Labow?
Here. Let the record reflect that Mr. Stazak, Mr. Mania, and Mr. Nacastro have been excused from the meeting this evening. First on the agenda, approval of the minutes. Mr. Franti?
Sure, I move to approve the August 6th, 2013 workshop, public meeting, and closed session minutes.
There is an error. There was no closed session. It's just the workshop and public meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Yes. Next on our agenda is our presentations, and the first one is Mr. Oh, Carl's here. This our first resolution this evening. Guess we'll go right over to the- Mr. Reiner, would you meet me at the podium, please? Mayor, could you join us? Mr. Reiner was one of our sanitary inspections in our health department, and I was actually the chair of the Board of Health when Carl came on board, and it's been an honor knowing you and working with you all these years. And this evening, we have a resolution for his retirement. It's a resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Mount Olive honoring Carl Reiners for his years of service, commitment, and dedication to the Township of Mount Olive. Whereas Carl Reiners has served the Township of Mount Olive for the past 7 years as a registered environmental health specialist, and whereas Carl F. Reiners completed the intensive training course in environmental and public health at Rutgers University, followed by an internship at the Mount Olive Township Health Department, and whereas Carl F. Reiners has a unique background, having worked as a high school English teacher for 25 years, and whereas Carl F. Reiners has in the past trained United States and Allied military personnel in principles and practices of proper sanitation and food handling techniques, along with other medical training, and whereas Carl F. Reiners has in the past served on active duty in the United States Army, including a combat tour in Afghanistan, and whereas Carl F. Reiners has retired from employment with the Township of Mount Olive as on August 16, 2013, and whereas Carl F. Reiners and his service will certainly be missed by the residents of Mount Olive Township, and whereas during his 7 years of service to Mount Olive Township, Carl F. Reiners has earned the respect and admiration of his colleagues for his public service and dedication to the residents of Mount Olive Township, and whereas the Township of Mount Olive wishes Carl F. Reiners the best of luck on his retirement. Now therefore let it be resolved by the Mayor and Township Council, by the Township of Mount Olive, County of Morris, and State of New Jersey, that Carl F. Reiners is hereby recognized and honored for his dedication, service, and commitment to the residents of Mount Olive Township, appreciation of his career and contributions to the Township of Mount Olive. I would like, Council, would you please move this resolution for us?
I move for passage of resolution number 1.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. The mayor, you know?
Yes, I have something
The
as
mayor
well.
has something as well.
Less wordy, of course. In honor of 7 years of dedicated service to Mount Olive Township, your loyalty and friendship will always be remembered. And we wish you the best in your retirement, although we hope that you'll consider coming back to Mount Olive Township in some capacity on a interim basis. So congratulations, and it really has been a pleasure.
Took a while.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That was his, so it's good.
You're fired.
All right, yeah. Gee, thanks, Robert. That's right.
Thank you, Carl. Next on our agenda, we have another fantastic presentation. Ruth Ann, would you come join me, please? This resolution, I'm going to ask Mr. Roman to move this resolution for us, please.
I move for approval, resolution number 2.
Second?
We have our mayor. Okay, and I'll read this and then we'll do our roll call. We have our mayor. Here he is. Hi, Ruth Ann. Hi. I've known Ruth Ann for many, many years. Resolution of the Council of Mount Olive Township commending Ruth Ann Fulton for her service to the Mount Olive Township Police Department. Whereas Mount Olive Township wishes to acknowledge and pay tribute to exceptional individuals who have greatly contributed to our community, and whereas in April of 1998, the New Jersey Battered Women's Service, in conjunction with Morris County Prosecutor's Office, established a domestic violence response team, and whereas in November of 1998, the Mount Olive Police Department established their domestic violence crisis response team, and whereas Ruth Ann Fulton has been an active volunteer for the Mount Olive Police Domestic Violence Crisis Response Team for 15 years, serving as team leader, and whereas Ruth Ann Fulton volunteered numerous hours, incurred personal sacrifice, and exhibited outstanding community spirit in her service while maintaining a demeanor working with her a pleasure, and whereas Ruth Ann Fulton imparted knowledge and wisdom to those she mentored, compassion and selflessness to those in need, and inspiration and encouragement to those she led. And whereas Ruth Ann Fulton is a lifelong resident of Mount Olive Township and actively participates in other community organizations and efforts. Whereas the citizens of Mount Olive Township and the members of the Mount Olive Township Police Department have been fortunate to have such a dedicated woman serve them so well for so long. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and the Township Council of the Township of Mount Olive that they do hereby express sincere gratitude to Ruth Ann Fulton for her years of outstanding public service to the citizens of Mount Olive, and do further wish her health, happiness, and fortune in her future endeavors. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes. Thank you. I just want to also state for the record that 1999, I received my certification as an advocate on the domestic violence response team, and Ruth Ann was my mentor. And I have to say, it was a pleasure working with her for numerous years, and I can't even, enough words can't even express what a fabulous job she's done helping this community. Thank you. Yes. We moved and seconded first, and then we voted.
Ruth Ann has been a keystone of community-based volunteer efforts in our community for close to 20 years. Not only has she been involved with the CRT team with domestic violence, but she has been involved with MOMAC, and she has been involved with DARE. And in these times where people never seem to have enough time to do what you want to do, Ruth Ann, for almost 20 years, has been a woman that you can count on to lend a hand. For those that don't know about the crisis response team, they come out at all hours of the night on domestic violence cases and counsel the victims of domestic violence and explain to them the options that they have to change the circumstances in their life. The goal, of course, is to stop the cycle of abuse. But these are women, mostly women, that volunteer their time to come out and do this. And not only did Ruth Ann do it, but she managed it. And anybody that's been in any type of managerial position knows that there's a lot of extra duties that goes with that. And Ruth Ann did that for over 14 years. So, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't recognize ourselves all the efforts that you put forth for us and the community. We can't thank you enough. So, on behalf of Chief Spitzer and the entire police department, Ruth Ann, you get the Civilian Service Award. This is awarded for personal assistance by a civilian in apprehending a criminal or in extending oneself beyond one's safety to prompt action to aid people who are in danger. You have done that for years. Can't thank you enough. Tonight, we're here to give recognize four people for their contributions. The next person is a civilian as well, and this was in reference to a call we received back in August of 2012. I'd first like to ask the officers that were present with it or had dealings with this call to step forward. Officer Casey Grimm, Sergeant Mark Carlstrom, and Officer William Gremmo. Caitlin, if you could step forward and join these officers here. You're a seasoned 15 years old now? Okay. Caitlin, on August 14th, 2012, at approximately noon, you were home alone when you heard an unexpected knock at your front door. Correctly, and as you had been instructed to do, you did not open the door for this stranger. After the person knocking received no answer, he opened the back door of your house and entered. You saw each other. He was surprised to find you home. He asked for Matt and then left abruptly. Though the encounter was brief and you were startled yourself, you knew something was wrong. You promptly called your parents, who in turn called the police. Your quick response aided us in responding to the area in a timely manner. Upon the arrival of officers, you were able to give a thorough and accurate description of the subject and his direction of flight. This information was relayed to responding police in the area, and as a result, resulted in the near immediate apprehension of the burglar in a nearby neighborhood. During the officers' investigation, they not only determined that this was the person who had broken into your home, but that he had committed a prior burglary and that he had the proceeds of that burglary on him, nearly $4,000 in cash and other items. Caitlin, tonight we are here to commend you for maintaining your composure, calling for assistance quickly, and upon the arrival of officers, being an exceptional witness. Your actions on the 14th of August 2012 resulted in the apprehension of a burglar, the return of items to a previous victim, and the prevention of further thefts that day. We appreciate and commend your service to the community. As a result of your actions that day, you are hereby awarded the Civilian Service Medal. If you look behind you, you'll see a number of officers here to watch our two new officers get formally sworn in tonight. All of these officers that you see back here have themselves ran the gauntlet of the police selection process. When we start our process, we start with the written test. And for those of you that are familiar with Mount Olive High School, if you know the cafeteria, we have packed every seat in that cafeteria with a candidate that wants to become a Mount Olive police officer. The test that these two newest officers took, we had over 500 applicants that day sitting, and we have hired approximately 5 officers off that test. 5. So when these guys are coming in there, you really have to want the job, because it can be demoralizing to know that you don't have a lot of openings and you're competing with all these guys. Well, after they take the written test, we take the top 50% from that, and those guys move on to a PT assessment, a physical test. And once again, it's the same thing. So they show up, there's 500 for the written, they go for the PT test, and there's 250 guys that we test all through the course of the day. And then after that, they move on to a series of interviews. There's an objective pre-employment interview. There's a panel where they have to sit in front of 8 officers out there, it seems in Never Never Land, all by themselves. And then they have to sit before the chief for that interview. All that to just get the chance to get into the academy. So I know the families of these 2 young men have to be extremely proud of their accomplishments. When our guys go to the academy, we have no doubt that they will excel, because the process to get on here is that tough. The first officer I'm going to introduce tonight is Officer Andrew Spots. Would you please step forward, Andrew? Officer Spots is a 2004 graduate of Warwick High School in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. He received his bachelor's degree in 2007 from Geneva College in the same state. Officer Spots worked for Warren County Communications from March of 2010 until his being hired as a Mount Olive police dispatcher in January of 2012. In January of 2013, he was hired as a police officer with Mount Olive and subsequently attended Morris County Police Academy, graduating with the 80th Basic Police class. Officer Spots graduated with distinction. He was the recipient of the Academic Achievement Award, an award given for the highest academic score in the class. He was also awarded the Physical Fitness Achievement Award, an award given for the recruit with the highest physical fitness scores. I'd like to add here that Chief Spitzer commented, "What about the Firearms Award?" An award given, Officer Spots is currently assigned to the Patrol Division's D Squad, and he is commanded by Sergeant Mark Carlstrom. Officer Spots is assigned to Field Training Officer William Gremo. Would you like to give the oath of office?
Lisa, do it.
Lisa, could you give the oath of office? Lidditz, Pennsylvania. Kathleen. Kathleen Andrews' wife will be holding the Bible.
I think she just graduated high school.
Come on up.
I, Andrew Spots,
I, Andrew Spots,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the
and
same,
allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of Mount Olive Township Police Officer
Mount Olive Township Police Officer
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Officer Spots is here tonight with his children Shay and Camden and his father-in-law and mother-in-law Floyd and Nancy Reeby. Congratulations. Our next officer is Michael Carletta. Officer Carletta took a slightly different path, but he is an exceptional officer nonetheless. He is a 2009 graduate of Jackson Memorial High School in Jackson, New Jersey. Following high school, he attended Ocean County College, where he graduated with an associate's degree in 2012. While at college, he also played for the soccer team. And while attending college, he took evening classes at the Ocean County Police Academy. He did so to become a Special Police Officer Class 2. He graduated from the Ocean County Police Academy in May of 2011. Since his graduation, he has been working as a Class 2 Special for the Seaside Heights Police Department, working the boards. Officer Carletta was hired by the Mount Olive Police this past July. He is presently assigned to the Patrol Division's A Squad, commanded by Sergeant Anna Carrico. He is assigned to Field Training Officer Matt Gooman. Officer Carletta is here tonight with his parents, James and Judith, his girlfriend, Morgan, and her brother, Connor, and her parents, Charles and Kia Lowry. Holding the Bible for Officer Carletta's oath of office tonight is Morgan. Morgan, would you please step forward? Family can join. Feel free to come on up.
I, Michael Carletta,
I, Michael Carletta,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the
of
Constitution
the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
that you will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments
in
established
the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of
all the duties of
the office of Mount Olive Township Police Officer,
the office of Mount Olive Township Police Officer,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
I would like to again congratulate tonight's honorees on their accomplishments and thank the council and mayor for giving us the opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just real quickly, I obviously didn't speak tonight, and there was a reason for that. We scheduled this a couple of times, and we've gone back and forth writing speeches. Steve wrote the last one. I thought it best for him to say his own words rather than for me to steal them. But the idea of tonight is just all about pride. We're very proud of the two recipients of our Civilian Service Awards. Extremely proud. We're very proud of our new officers. I'm particularly proud of one officer, and I think he's already left. Oh, no, Casey's back there. Casey brought the award for Caitlin Halter to our attention, where we probably would have missed it. And that's an important thing for an officer to recognize that, and I appreciate that. It was on his say-so that we awarded Caitlin, and it would have been missed, so that would have been a terrible thing. But we're proud of all of you tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Can we do anything for Joe?
He's not here. He's on vacation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the crowd there.
Chief?
Be down there like one or two people in a minute.
Okay. The chief will let us know when we're going to reschedule for Joe.
Just making sure.
All right, next. Mayor Greenbaum, would you like to give your proclamation now and wait a few minutes? We're going to take a brief break. Stay right here.
I didn't know we were hiring officers out of middle school.
Getting old, Alex.
Yes, we.
I gotta make sure they remember me.
Yes, on the way in here this evening, Mr. Mayor Greenbaum asked how my grandson was doing. I informed him he's already 2 years old.
We have a special prize for anybody who's left in the room after.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Oh.
Sad testament to just how interesting these council meetings are.
Did you see that? The chief flashed.
Disagree. I think it's actually a very positive, thing in terms of how well the town is being run.
Yes.
For what?
That there is no
nobody
strike.
here. Because people generally come to council meetings to complain.
Yes.
And if there's nobody in the audience, it means that we're all doing a good job.
I'll take that.
All right, I'll take that. For, what, 12 years now? We've had maybe 3 people in the audience. We're doing a damn good job.
I think we are.
Yes.
There's nobody at my place, so
I
I must
agree.
be doing a good job.
And it's communication is the key.
I do have a proclamation this evening, Madam Council President, if I may.
Yes, please.
From the Office of the Mayor, it's a proclamation honoring September as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas ovarian cancer is called the silent killer because its symptoms are often vague or subtle, and whereas ovarian cancer is the 5th leading cause of cancer deaths among women and the leading cause of gynecologic cancer death in the United States, and whereas each year more than 22,000 Americans are diagnosed with the disease and approximately 16,000 die from it, and whereas if detected in its early stages, survival from ovarian cancer is 90 to 95%, and the 5-year survival rate is only 28% because it is so difficult to detect early. And whereas the Turn the Town Teal campaign was launched by Gail McNeil during her 10-year battle with ovarian cancer, and whereas Kaleidoscope of Hope, or better known as KOH, the Atlantic Health System and the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition, Northern New Jersey, NOCC, are partnering to promote awareness of ovarian cancer through the Turn the Town Teal campaign. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Robert Greenbaum, Mayor of Mount Olive Township, do hereby proclaim September as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month and support the Turn the Town Teal awareness campaign in the Township of Mount Olive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, we have our correspondence, 20 pieces of correspondence. Any questions, concerns, comments? Alrighty, seeing none. Next, we have our ordinances for first reading. We don't have any this evening for public hearing, so going to move on. The second reading, public hearing is going to be on September 3rd, 2013. I cannot believe that September's almost here already. First reading for ordinance number 22-2013, an ordinance of the Township of Mount Olive in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, providing for the establishment of a no parking zone on Glendale Road in certain sections of Hillary Drive to be incorporated into Chapter 245 of the Mount Olive Township Code. Mr. Franti, would you please move that for us?
Sure, I move that ordinance number 22-2013 be introduced by title and passed on first reading, and that a meeting be held on September 3rd, 2013 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, for a public hearing, consideration of second reading and passage of said ordinance, and that the clerk be directed to publish, post, and make available said ordinance in accordance with the requirements of the law.
Second.
Thank you. Any council discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes. Okay, next item on the agenda for first reading is ordinance number 23-2013, ordinance amending section 3D of bond ordinance numbered 5-2013, finally adopted March 19, 2013, in order to amend the description of the project. Mr. Roman, would you please move that?
I move that ordinance number 23-2013 be introduced by title and passed on first reading, and that a meeting be held on September 3rd, 2013 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, for a public hearing, consideration of second reading, and passage of said ordinance, and that the clerk be directed to publish, post, and make available said ordinance in accordance with the requirements of law.
Second.
Thank you. Any council discussion? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mrs. Leybow?
Yes. All righty, moving right along, we have our resolutions. We already did 2 of them this evening. We now have, well, we have 3 through 16, but 16 was a resolution for the Lou Nelson.
Are we gonna remove?
Which is not there. Is it?
What?
It's not there.
Are we removing it?
We
Yeah,
have to, we're coming
Why
back
you
in 2
remove it?
weeks. Number
It's here,
6.
do it.
Number 6, where?
Yeah, but it's,
we'd have to amend it, though, a little bit.
I mean,
And then-
it's calling for the memorial the way she,
Yes, let our attorney address that.
Put it
Are we
on-
just,
Put it on for 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
That's what we told her.
Yeah, that's what we decided. We're going to put it on for 2 weeks. So we're going to do resolutions 3 through 15. And could I have Mr. Ferranti, would you please move 3 through 15?
Sure, I move consent resolutions 3 through 15.
Second.
Back up 1 second. Did anybody want to have any of them removed, put to non-consent? Are we going to approve? Okay, very good. Any discussions, comments, concerns about any of our resolutions this evening? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
yes.
Mrs. Leybow?
Yes. Okay. We didn't have anybody from the public except for David J. from WRNJ. Did you want to speak about any of the resolutions? No, he did not want to. All righty. Next, we have our consent motions. Mr. Roman, would you please move our bill list?
I move for approval of the bill list.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Frente?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mrs. Leybow?
Yes. Administrative reports. Mr. Mayor?
I'll start, yes. One item, actually. We've been approached by the Mount Olive Soccer Club. As you know, in the past, we have floated a bond with respect to the installation of a turf field, all of the costs of which, both soft and hard costs, the soccer club is obligated to repay the township, and so far, it has worked incredibly well. We did the same thing with the football club. At this point in time, the soccer club has approached us with respect to the installation of lights on the turf field, which will give us additional playing time. As you know, over the past 10 years or so, the soccer club has brought in generated portable lights, which are loud and not totally efficient in terms of lighting the fields, and also not totally efficient in terms of spillage over, but we've had no complaints from any of the residents that live at or around the park. We've always had a situation where any lights in the township that are used on recreational fields are to be turned off at 10 o'clock, and really have had no issues either with respect to the ones at Flanders Park or the ones that are currently installed up at Turkey Brook. So soccer, now that we have, are in the process of installing the 3-phase wiring up at Turkey Brook Park, which should be done hopefully within the next month, has approached us again with doing further improvements at no cost to the general taxpayer in terms of installation of lights on the turf field itself. The administration recommends that. We don't see any problem with it, and we think it'll actually be a benefit to those people who are adjacent to the park, and that the generator noise, which obviously is very loud, will no longer be an issue with respect to that field. It'll be a improvement which all of Mount Olive will benefit through, and the soccer club has proven that they are capable of paying back the debt which they obligate themselves to. So we're going to move forward with that absent opposition from the town council.
Mr. Roman?
Is this something that would be benefit to be done at the same time in approaching football?
Football already has lights on both of their fields.
No, oh, even in the practice one?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Problem with football right now is that we don't have the three-phase power.
Okay.
And so they can't light both fields at the same time, but once the three-phase power is in, they will be able to light both fields, and both fields currently do have lights installed.
Okay.
Very good. Excellent. When we do the tot lot, are we gonna have that area a little illuminated for night games also, if there's little kids playing,
I
or?
think that there are a number of different issues that the committee who actually designed the tot lot are going to have to look at. Number one is bathroom usage.
Right.
And how we're gonna deal with that, and whether or not we're gonna do it on some kind of portable basis,
Mhm.
something nicer than a porta-john.
Yeah,
but-
right.
And also the illumination issue.
Yeah.
It's less of an issue because, you know, the park is primarily designed for kids of a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure that we're gonna need to have the same type of lights that we have
Right.
on a athletic field, but certainly something which will have to be considered.
Exactly, something just to lighten it up a little. I'm just thinking in terms of if you're having soccer, gonna have the late night games, they're gonna have younger siblings around.
There's no question about it, and
Yeah.
certainly something that will be looked at.
Right, excellent. And also, it's a lot less expensive to run the lights that are installed on three-phase than those generators, because that's very, very expensive and noisy.
The
As you
cost
said.
of renting
It's
the generated lights is astronomical.
Yep. And the
It
fuel.
will actually
yep.
cost the soccer club less
Mhm.
to fund the installation of the, I'm sure it'll be Musco lighting,
Yeah.
than to rent on a yearly basis the temporary lights. There'll
Yeah.
still be a need for temporary lights currently because we're obviously only talking about putting in lights at the one soccer field. And still far enough away from, it's not fields 1 and 3, which are adjacent to the backyards of the residents on Sunset. So
Yeah.
I don't see it as an issue at all. And I can tell you, living across the park from Flanders Park, which has lighting, it's really a non-issue anyway.
Yeah. Very good. Anything else, Mayor?
No, that's all I have.
Mr. Canning?
Yeah, I have a couple things. The tot lot RFP is proceeding. We're expecting to bring that to council, hopefully first meeting in September. I want to thank Councilman Perkins. We've had some personnel shifting in the building, as well as a number of upcoming retirements we anticipate. So at least as far as those in the health department, I want to thank Councilman Perkins. We worked closely together last week, and we came to some resolutions on how to fill some open spots in the interim until we can address things long term. The Givaudan trails are proceeding. I don't know how many people saw the pictures on Facebook.
Yeah.
But it's starting to really take shape, and I anticipate within 2 to 4 weeks, it's really going to look like a nice finished trail. Our goal for that is to have that done jointly with Givaudan by October 25th, when they have their worldwide CEO coming to visit Mount Olive. So it's very much a high priority for John Trombley, the CEO at the local Givaudan. But it's moving along nice, and Frank Wilper Jr. and Lisa Pignataro really, and the crew of Frank really deserve a pat on the back. They're doing a bang-up job up there. Fleet analysis, as we did at the end of April, at the end of August, it'll be the second third of the year, so we're gonna have a comprehensive report. Hopefully, I can have that to you by September 3rd, if I put an extra time in that Labor Day weekend. If not, it'll be the second meeting in September, but I'm hoping to have a more detailed picture as to where we're at, 2/3 of the way through the year. I try to update it in the monthly reports. I don't know how many of you get a chance to really take a look at it, but it's just kind of a snapshot. Continuing to meet with prospective businesses. We have a conference call tomorrow morning with a prospective business in the ITC. Hopefully that'll be fruitful, and we'll have some good news for attracting more business into Mount Olive. And as I touched upon before, in the next 6 to 9 months, we're anticipating a number of retirements, and we're going to be sad to see those personnel go, but we're going to manage it closely and try to get the same quality personnel into Mount Olive Township.
I wanted to ask a question for the carnival. I was looking at your report that you sent out earlier. It looks like we made profit this time.
It appears so.
Yeah.
From what Jill had sent out, that's always the goal. And if,
Yeah.
those numbers bear up under some scrutiny, I want to take a look at them a little closer. But I think that she's accurate in that, and if that's the case, it's definitely positive for the future.
And I'd have to say, I think it's a lot of it had to do with a lot of the sponsorship. Really, kind of took us over the
Runners Staff
top.
do a great job. They really do, and for the amount of events that they hold and the amount of sponsors they're able to get, and and it's the public acclaim and the attendance they have, they really Jill and her staff are doing a great job.
Wow. And I think that's wonderful. Not only the sponsorship, it helps to make our, with our events like the carnival, and brings attention to all of our businesses and sponsors in town as well, so it's just absolutely phenomenal.
And that was despite a rainy week overall.
Yeah, exactly. Except for I invited the son to come on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and it arrived a minute early. Remember that? Poor Rob. Everybody was telling him change the weather.
It's too bad you couldn't have done anything to keep the carnival company there.
I know. If I had known about it, I would have. I mean, we knew, when we found out about it, it was already done deal. So now we have our old business. Anybody have any old business? Seeing none. Any new business? Seeing none. Legal matters?
Okay. My name is, for the people I introduced myself, I'm Nanette Thomas. I'm of counsel at Dorsey and Semro, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Jeff Pazak and Fred Semro. I'm following up on Jeff's report from the last meeting about the Dreamland amusements relating to the carnival. We have filed a complaint for breach of contract in view that they closed up the carnival prematurely on the last night of the event, and we're seeking damages. We expect the carnival owners, Dreamland Amusements, to answer our complaint the middle of September. If they don't, then we'll file for a default judgment, of course, and we'll keep you posted on that. The second thing to follow up on is the developer's agreement with Siemens Healthcare. That negotiation is in progress and moving along in a positive way, and Fred will get back to you when that is completed. And that's the report tonight from legal.
Oh, thank you very much. And welcome to Mount Olive.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have our council reports next. Mr. Ferranti, your Environmental Lake Library?
I have nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Mr. Maney is not here this evening. We have Mr. Nacastro, Mr. Perkins, Board of Health, Legislative, and Economic.
Board of Health is meeting tomorrow night, Madam President, and nothing on the others.
Alrighty. Mr. Roman, Recreation and Board of Education?
Nothing new to report.
Alrighty. And Mr. Stazak is not here for MOTV. And I just want to, since he's not here, but on the subject of MOTV, I love the MOTV Facebook page, trying to guess those streets. I am now out taking pictures of streets, and very disappointed when people guess them immediately, but I have a couple that I don't think they're going to see right away. They're going to recognize, so it's a lot of fun. So when you guys are out and about, you see something, take a picture of it, send it over to motvintown@gmail.com. And TNR, I don't have anything to report this evening on TNR. We're going to be having a meeting on Thursday with Mr. Canning and our ACO, and that's it. I now open the meeting to public portion. Seeing no one in the public this evening, close it to the public. Any council comments, Mr. Ferranti?
Nope, none.
Mr. Perkins?
None.
Mr. Roman?
None.
None. And I have no comments this evening. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
How about those U12 girls?
Oh,
Third in the
you
country.
should, Alex, you should have brought that up with Recreation.
Well, we're going to be recognizing them at a later meeting.
Okay, that was excellent. That was unbelievable.
But we mentioned something at the last,
we did last
yeah, at the last meeting, I
we
mentioned
did.
the score and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay, very good. So
Yeah,
we
but they were third. They deserve to get mentioned every meeting.
every meeting, and we will have a special recognition for them. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
No formaldehyde in the garbage.
6 minutes.
We got getting late. We ended up sitting with people that were ready already.
We'll get you guidelines on that.
Take care.
The guidances on that as well.
Yes, they did. Yes. I meant Shack in the middle of the woods in Virginia.
Hey,